maybe you have forgotten a teeny tiny little fact that is that we're all getting old. Yes, you're getting old, and even more. By the year 2050 in Chile, there will be around 37,000 people older than 100 years old. We're the Greystone Group, and we've been facing the challenge of mobility and aging population this whole semester, working with the Notre Dame University back in the United States and our university. And back there we have two guys that are mechanical engineers, Scott and Gracious, and Esteban and I were engineers in design. To put you a little bit into the context, I want to tell you that by the year 2050, again, the populations of the elderly will increase in a 15% in Chile and almost a 5% in the United States. So actually, population is getting older, and maybe a little bit faster in Chile. So the obvious question right now would be, what does mobility imply for the elderly every day? And the obvious question for this the obvious answer for this obvious question would be, it represents their day-to-day. Every activity they do is related to mobility. So the obvious question right now would be, which issues does the elderly population have in terms of mobility every day? And to answer that question, we did our field and a focused field research. What we did was to do 30 formal and informal interviews, took lots of field notes, and filled a lot of protocols to guide the process. And the places we visited, for example, were the nursing homes, the medical centers, the streets, and of course their homes. And the agents, the people that were especially related to the issue, well, were the elderly. On one hand, then we have the physical therapists, the geriatricians, the family, and the nursing home staff. Now, after all this process of research, what did we learn through collected data and observation? We learned that there's a lot of people that, with problems that comes with age, that they have different range of movements of the joints, the articulations. For example, they can't lift their arms to the same height, if they have problems between the legs, etc. And that's because a lot of common illnesses in the elderly that comes with age, for example, the osteoarthritis. That creates lots of difficulties in their everyday activities, because I was telling you it's related to their day-to-day, so they have a lot of problems with that. And also, the compensation of one of these disparities, of one of these compensations, would create another one, and that's something we don't want, without the proper treatment. And we wanted to go a little bit further than that about the treatment. We wanted to know what happens today in the rehabilitation process. And we were able to see that physical therapists and kinesiologists mainly work with qualitative data that's given by the same patients. That's based, for example, in the amounts of pain they have every day, the activities they do and they don't, and it's especially related to the things they say and don't say. So you have something important there. And we were able to identify levels of activities in terms of the pain versus the confidence. For example, if we have a person that has a lot of pain when they walk and doesn't feel secure when they walk, for example, oh, I'm gonna get hurt, or I'm gonna fall, the level of activity tends to none. And on the other hand, if we have a person that doesn't have any pain and feels very secure with the things they're doing, they have a high level of activity. So to balance this, and watching all of this and seeing all the process of the research, we were able to find our final purpose. And that would be to even out the performance disparity of the elderly related to their joints to assess their rehabilitation. So we started a deep process of analysis with all this data. And in this process of coming and going, we found a problem. How can we make physical therapy more effective and its progress more visible? And we found two main actors that would be, in this case, the personas, but I'm not going to talk about that, the archetypes of people we're working for. We have, in one hand, the elderly, of course, that for us would be the active self-sufficient. It's cognitively active, it has degenerative illnesses in low degrees, and likes to keep, likes to do the therapies that are given by the physical therapists. And on the other hand, we have the physical therapists. They encourage the proactive therapy in the patients, and in their opinion, for example, it's hard to achieve that the elderly actually cooperate with the therapies or do the activities. So after all this process, we finally found a solution for this problem. And this would be the Kneevenout. The Kneevenout, it's a knee brace, because it provides the structural support that every other knee brace has, but it's not like every other knee brace, because it gives you more than that, more than just the structural support. Why is that? Because of the way it works. It works with a gyroscope. A gyroscope is a technological device that gathers data, quantitative data of the patient's gait, and gather it in a micro SD card like most of us have it in our cell phones. Now you're asking what kind of data? For example, the number of steps is in a certain amount of time, the walking speed, or the angles of extension or flexion of the leg. And that data would be read and displayed in a user interface like this one for the physical therapist. For example, you have there the number of steps, the walking speed, and you can choose if you want it between a day, a month, a year to see actually the progress of the patient. And we want it to be very intuitive, so we have a button for the physical therapist to log in, so you and you only can see the progress of a certain patient. You can open the file, like read and display the data that's in the micro SD card. You can save the data and add it to the database that already exists of the patient, and then with the last one you can log out. So knowing this, we could separate and we could compare what would be the old experience of therapy with the new one. And the old one would be something like this. Good morning, Mr. Johnson. Good morning, Dr. Smith. Have you done your exercises? Of course I have. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Feeling any pain? Well, just a bit in the right side of the knee. Well, that's because you're not doing your exercise. Oh, they're just so difficult. How am I ever gonna know if you're getting better? Well, if we compare this to the new experience of therapy, we would see something like this. Good morning, Mr. Johnson. Good morning, Dr. Smith. Have you done your exercises? Of course I have. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Okay, let's check. At this point, she could drag the micro SD card from the gyroscope, put it into computer, and this would be displayed. The user interface, you could see actually the progress and not rely only the things that they're saying, but on the quantitative data. So we have qualitative and quantitative data, and that, of course, creates a better therapy. Now, about the business model, I'm going to talk a little bit about this. Could be your market. Well, according to the numbers that I presented you in the context and the numbers that already exist right now in this year, around 45 million people would use our product because of the problems that comes with age. If we mixed both markets together, the United States and Chile, there will be 45 million people. And about money, well, we found that the range of prices of the new braces right now goes from $900 to $10,000, the most sophisticated one we found. But with the materials we're using, we could manufacture one of these with $100, and considering the price reductions of mass production, we could get a profit of 100% if we sell it at $150. Well, about distribution, we would like to sell it in drugstores and pharmacies with a prescription, because here in Chile you can't get anything related to physical therapy without a prescription. And we would like to have a website for the physical therapist to contact with us to learn how to use the interface or to order some Kneevenouts for them. And so what? After all of this, what are the benefits of Kneevenout? Well, we have an innovative system to collect valuable data. No other brace in the market does this. We have a reliable tracing of the patient's development, and we have an unmatched cost in the braces market. Well, we're all getting old, and that is a fact. But I'm sure that when you turn 100 years old, you would like to feel just like you feel right now, and that would be possible with Kneevenout. Thank you.